Whoop, whoop, there it is. What's happening? It's the New York Hardcore Chronicles live. Sometimes I just get so engrossed in watching the intro myself that I don't even pay attention to what's good. Oh, shit, I got to start the show. Well, here we are. Show number, what fucking show is this? What fucking shit? 286. 200. And then if you add all those bonus shows we did in the beginning, you know what's scary? That it's not that far off in the near future that we're going to be at like 365 shows. So theoretically, a year of my life has been spent doing this show. How's that? You know? Hey, Gertie, how you doing? Hi, all. Yes. Hey, Olivia, nice. Hey, welcome back. It's always nice to see an old friend. We're still here. We're here. Hey, Spikey, good to see everybody. Kenny Clark, what's happening? Bonjour, bonjour, Max. Mark, don't fuck. Mark, listen. Thank you for the for the super chat. But we don't. Your money's not good here, bro. Stop. All you other people though can do super chats. Hey, Mark Tolch, that enables you for one question. So if you'd like to ask your question now, whatever it is, you can ask it now or you can ask it later. You can ask me anything you want, bro. Anything. Go deep, get weird. All right? There you go. Anybody else that, pardon the expression, has a hard on for a super chat for a question, do a super chat and there you go. That said, speaking of hard ons, Steven Messina.
I didn't know this came in a centerfold.
What's going on, man? What book is that? That's right. That is the New York Hardcore Chronicles, Volume 2, 1990 to 1999, available at www.stonefilmsnyc.com, along with the companion piece, Volume 1. Hey, by the way, there's only 35 of these books left, the Volume 1. Plenty of Volume 2, but there's only 35 Volume 1. So if you're looking to get both of them together, whatever, make your move.
So what's going on?
Hey, man, you're going on, baby.
Going on. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Don't mind the cat. Daryl's right in the foreground here.
Saw you on stage last night.
Yeah, last night was a blast. It was I'm really happy with the way they set the place up now over there.
And that was this last night. Yep.
Yeah, this was this was pretty crazy. It was a great night. What was the first band? Roll Call.
Roll Call. I didn't see. They are our label mates on Bridge 9 Records, and that's you know who's in Roll Call?
No.
The kid that was on the show. That remember we did a show once. The hardcore kid that like stepped in when this pregnant woman was getting threatened in New York.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was a bonus episode.
Brian. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's in that band.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were cool. Then Wild Side, a band called Age of Apocalypse.
Right.
And of course 108 and Judge. What a show.
Here's another. This is Judge. The Judges right here. There's Purcell. There's Big Mike. Brian Helmsley. Thank you. Brian Helmsley.
He's got Judge shoes on.
He's got Judge shoes on. Yep.
Yeah, they got the cross hammers on him.
Some guys just get on stage and they're like look comfortable. Like Purcell looks pretty comfortable on stage.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
He's like they were good. You know what I like about Judge? They don't play an exorbitantly long time. you know?
I don't think they played 40 minutes, maybe something.
Not even, yeah.
But I mean, they have their fans. They really have a rabid group of fans. People love them. I mean, something about that band that really touches people. You know,
that record is, was very, for that generation.
yeah,
Like people of my generation we were around when the Minor Threat stuff came out, and Minor Threat, Bad Brains, SSD Control. I was around when that stuff came out. That's the next generation. So for that generation,
yeah, and 108 too. I mean, I thought I love 108. I love their songs really like build. Like I love the There's Kate.
Yep.
Yeah, it was such a good night. Although somebody put their thumb in my eye, and I wasn't too happy about that.
Put their thumb in your eye?
He jumped on the stage, and he went to jump off, and he used my head for balance, and he stuck his hand on my head like a bowling ball, and his thumb went in my eye.
Don't even get me started with you fucking photographers on the stage, because I'll fucking.
Oh no, this is when I was in the front in the crowd.
Oh wait, is that when you took this shot? This is a good shot. You see who's in the forefront of this? Hold on, come on.
Buffering.
You see who's in the forefront?
There he is.
Yep.
John.
Yep.
John.
Yo, speaking of guys from my generation, right? Fucking John Watson, was there at the beginning, still up front, fucking doing it. At fucking, Watson's got to be 60 years old.
Yeah, I love that he's literally front and center.
Yo, like and moving.
Oh, he does that thing like he feels the songs. He's so cool to watch.
Yeah,
such a good dude.
Yeah,
yeah.
Kelly from Sisterhood's in the background. All right.
Oh yeah.
Feeling that Rangers hat, Story-Lou, huh? Of course. Yo, you know who I saw? Who was talking to Watson, John Watson, when I walked up to him? Original Cro-Mag singer Eric Casanova.
Oh, that's funny. We saw them together at Tompkins a while back.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yep.
Did that guy? He never did he never made any kind of music post Cro-Mags, right?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Here's a Judge shot.
Yeah,
this is. It was good. It was a good show.
I like he's kind of cautiously looking over his shoulder.
Yeah.
No, this was a fun one, and I really do. I think it's much better the way they have it set up now. So.
Yeah. Listen, I got a gripe, man.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. It's like I'm on the side of the stage watching, and there's fucking photographers that stand on the stage the whole fucking set taking fucking pictures, right? And it's like, yo, do you really need to be up there for 40 minutes blocking everybody so you can take your fucking pictures for social media?
3 songs.
I know you listen. Yo, this is my thing now. Check this out. You ready?
Yeah.
If you come to my fucking show, the next no photographers at the Incendiary Device shows. Yo, fuck the photographers. How about the people in the audience? People in the audience who paid, they deserve to watch the show.
Are you gonna make put their phones
in
you
standing up there for fucking 40 minutes, fucking blocking everybody? And I don't want to mention any names, but you know what I mean? Yo, fuck all you photographers, man.
You gonna make them put the phones in the pouches and everything?
No, you know what? How's this sound? You don't got to put the phone in the pouches. Bring your phone in, and if you take your phone out, you get like a beat down. Like you'll just be like, it'll be like a beat down. And I'm gonna bring in like remember that scene in Pink Floyd, The Wall?
Oh
And
yeah.
like Roger, him over there. It's gonna be. I'll be like over there. There's one. And like fucking anyone.
Anyone who takes their phone out, we feed them to the
No,
non-residents.
no. You know what? You're allowed to take your phone out at our show. Take your fucking
Okay.
phone out. I don't even mind if you text while we're playing. But if
Right.
you point that phone towards the stage, that's it. Yeah. Ah! I mean, some fucking people, some of you photographers get up there and stand around like you're fucking something special. Like, oh, my shit doesn't stink. I should be up here blocking literally 150 people for 40 minutes while I take pictures with my phone, take pictures with my van. Like, enough of this shit already, man. I don't give a fuck. You know what? If you're not at the show enjoying the moment, fuck you. How's that sound?
I do have to say, I enjoy the moment through my camera, but I also don't stand in the way. Occasionally I might because of the all-encompassing melon, but what can I do? I have no control over that.
Yep.
Uh-oh. Look, it's Larry Kelly.
Yep. Fucking photographers, man. Yeah. Chris Conto says, we don't let that happen out here. Take a few and get out of the way. Take a few pictures and get the fuck out of the way.
I mean, the etiquette is usually the first three songs and then hit it.
Oh, so. But not if you think you're God's fucking gift to the earth, taking pictures so you can put it on social media.
Well, they are promoting you, and
No, I didn't forget that Steve's a photographer.
If you only knew. If you only knew what I go through.
Wait, speaking of photographers and videographers, here's another shot you took from last night.
There he is.
That's Sonny Singh from Hate 5-6. Was he blow the?
Yeah, there's
blowing the shofar to open the show.
There's a 108 song that begins with the shell, and he actually handed the camera off to his guy, and he ran off and he did the intro and then ran back. Yeah, this is a guy who's everywhere, but he also is invisible.
Yeah,
he was on the side by me. We were both off to the side, and people don't even see him usually. Don't try to align
yourself with Sonny Singh here to escape my reign of terror, bro. Because no, actually, I saw you took a couple songs and ran across the stage. You were gone, but there's a couple people, and you know who you are, that stood up there the whole time. How many fucking pictures do you need to take? How many fucking pictures do you need to take? 300? This isn't the fucking, this isn't motherfucking Led Zeppelin.
Oh shit. Well, you know what? It might have been, maybe they just were in that moment and it's just them and the music.
See what happens at our next show, bro.
Speaking of next shows, I just want to take a minute to thank you for coming out to Baker Falls this week.
Yeah.
That was cool. Speaking of new rooms, that are old rooms.
Yeah, that's cool. It's the old pyramid. That was cool.
For a Wednesday night, Yep.
Yeah, man.
What is he? Staged potatoes.
Staged potatoes. That's a good one, right?
That's our band.
You staged potato.
We're touring with Women in Distress.
Yep.
That's
women
funny.
WID, Women in Distress.
That's right.
Hey, yo, you coming down? Speaking of which, we're playing a week from today. After the show, I got to scoot down to Organic Grill. We're playing at Organic Grill.
That's going to be awesome.
A Drew Stone Hit Squad show, which is going to be cool.
By the way, absolutely one of my favorite photographs ever. On that flyer.
It's great.
And you know what that is, of course.
Of course I know what it is. That's Woody Guthrie at McSorley's Bar and Tavern here in New York
Yep.
during the Great Depression. Like
That's 1943.
Oh, it's 43. I thought it was a little
Yeah, that's
before that.
43. Yeah.
Right.
And they still have those mugs behind the
Yeah.
counter.
Yeah.
And I literally go to McSorley's every time we have a Bowery Electric show. That's where I go for lunch before the show.
McSorley's used to let it. I used to drink in McSorley's when I was like 15 years old, when we used to come down. And I
me
think,
too.
if I remember correctly, those beers were like 25 cents each back then.
Well, now it's like $6 for two.
Really? And they'd come,
yeah.
and you get like a dozen of them, and they'd come and put them on your put like on your table.
Oh yeah, no, it's and you only get light or dark. They make their own there.
Yeah. Hey, not to interrupt you, but we got a really great guest today.
Really big show. All right, then.
Big show. Really big show today. Yep.
Well, I'm gonna go be a photographer.
Watching you, bro. All you fucking
outside your window.
All you fucking photographers are on fucking alert right now. I'm telling you.
He's putting us on.
You're on blast.
Bro. Smile.
I'll talk to you later. This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, sponsored by... What's up? This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, Organic Grill, the Texas Silver Rush, DTFM Vinyl Distro, Generation Records, 126 Hardcore Clothing, and Upstate Records. They're a New York-based independent metal and hardcore label. Founded in 2017, they broke into the scene with their inaugural 26-band compilation, and since then have churned out over 80 releases in their brief, yet illustrious 5-year career. Out now are new releases by Mark Rizzo's band Revenge Beast, Carl from Earth Crisis, Fury of 5, Angry Corpses, and a few more surprises in the works. Check them out and a whole lot more at www.upstaterecordsnewyork.com and use the code STONE10 for 10% off, you cheap fuck. 126 Hardcore Clothing is a streetwear brand for restless individuals who don't compromise. Like you, my friend. They are about being positive, spontaneous, and true to yourself. For years, they experimented with several printing methods and materials and collaborated with a large number of designers and illustrators, always giving room for fresh perspectives while retaining the hardcore attitude. Get in touch with them. Ramp up your weak-ass clothing game at www.126clothing.com. That said, let's clear the deck. Everything okay? Nobody killing each other in the chat room? All right, here we go. Let's clear the deck. Let's bring our guest on. Let's get it on. Where's my intro? Come on. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, today's guest is a drummer hailing from Lewisburg, West Virginia. He's known for his work with the bands C60, Voodoo Dolls, Goddamn Draculas, Blood Lightning, and of course, for over 3 decades, Sam Black Church. Here today to talk to us about the upcoming Real Live 35th anniversary show and much, much more, please welcome, coming at us from lovely Arlington, Massachusetts, Mr. J.R. Roach.
Hey.
You sure you want to step into this, bro?
Stage potatoes on notice.
Right. Hey, get ready, fucking Mr. Worcester. You got a big one coming up.
There's gonna be a whole pile of stage potatoes at that show, I'm sure.
Seriously, man. Yeah. That's exciting though, man. I know the show's sold out. That's very exciting, man.
Yeah, we couldn't be more excited about it. These reunion shows are far and few between, and guys are, Zach came in from Germany yesterday, and 2 more guys are landing in Boston today, and we're just super psyched to get going. We've got a full week of rehearsal, so we're psyched this time.
And definitely. Here it is in lovely Worcester, Massachusetts. This Saturday, it's not even a week away. It's this Saturday.
Yeah.
And with Killing Time, Leeway, and Scissor Fight.
Yeah. Really killer lineup. Super psyched about it. Killing Time, crushing it. really excited and happy to see Eddie Sutton return into the stage with Leeway, and then our good buddies, New Hampshire Speed Doomers, Scissor Fight. Yeah, we're super stoked.
Is it really sold out? Like that's it? No more tickets?
Oh, there's some tickets left. Yeah, there's still tickets left. It's a big room.
Sean McNally chimed in. Tickets are still available.
Sean, I knew it was just a matter of seconds before Sean would be in there. Like,
sorry,
no,
I jumped the gun.
Zero admission.
What the fuck's he talking about? It's not sold out. There's still tickets on sale. That's great. Well, if anybody backs out, let me know. We want to play.
Oh, right on, man.
Yeah.
Right on.
Not that my fucking guys can mobilize on a moment's notice, but
Hey, at this stage of the game, not many can. It's been a really interesting adventure booking this show. I'll tell you that.
What are we talking about? You guys, I mean, we'll get to this, but I'm talking to a guy who plays in a band that basically plays like every third year. So you talk about nothing happens spontaneously, right?
Yeah, that's how long it takes us to get our shit together, basically.
All right.
Yeah,
Well, hey, let's rewind. Let's take it back to the beginning. How did you come up? Did you grow up in a musical household? How did music come into your life?
Well, I did grow up in a musical household in that my father was a had been a professional trumpet player.
Wow.
And my sister grew up being a very talented pianist. And so there was always music around the house, lots of, early rock and roll and jazz and lots of classical. So I was definitely exposed to it from a young age. My sister is 11 years older than me. So I really benefited from her having some really good taste and, playing really cool stuff around the house. By the time I got to junior high school and people were just discovering some of these classic rock bands, I was like, I already know all this stuff, man. Like,
yeah.
So that was I was very fortunate in that.
So there was a lot of jazz in your home?
Yeah. Yep. Ramsey Lewis, Dave Brubeck, Jerry Mulligan,
wow.
Chet Baker. Yeah, lots of jazz around the house, particularly Brubeck. My dad was absolutely. Yeah. Miles Davis, Coltrane, but my dad was definitely a big Brubeck fan.
Right on. What think of Brubeck? I feel like progressive jazz. Like Brubeck, like that. That's what comes into mind when I think of Dave Brubeck. It's like progressive jazz.
Yeah, it's like that interesting odd meter kind of stuff.
Yeah,
really. Yeah. Cool drummer Joe Morello in that band who was able to make those odd meters still really swing in a cool way. And I'm still the guy who does it for me in Brubeck is Paul Desmond, the horn player in that band is just insane and just the smoothest stuff. And he put out a lot of really great solo records in that time period. He also did a little bit of work with the Modern Jazz Quartet that was really cool.
Why did you gravitate towards drums? Why drums?
Well, in my hometown, we had a really great music program in the schools that really began in 6th grade, where you could start in the beginning, like 6th grade band, before you would be moving into junior high school.
Is this public school?
Yep, public school.
In Virginia?
In West Virginia, yeah.
That's fantastic, man.
A lot of us signed up. All my best friends signed up. One guy wanted to play trumpet. Actually, my 2 best friends wanted to play trumpet. And I don't know, I was just I was enamored with the drums. And I had already gotten, my dad had bought me a drum pad and some sticks, and I started messing around. And then to be in the band, you had to get your instrument. And so My mother and stepfather bought me the nice, like, that little beginner's Ludwig snare kit that came with the little stand and
the little stand that was like connected to the snare kind. It was like it hung off it,
Yeah, and it was, and it was cool, and I really loved it, and I loved playing in the school band, and it slowly built from there, where over time my parents and I would keep our eyes out for drums at yard sales and flea markets and whatnot, and then eventually graduated to my parents bought me a used. I love telling this story just because it's so heavy metal, that my parents bought me a used Premier kit that was actually the finish on it was black pleather. So my first drum set was a black leather drum set.
Nice. That's great.
It's about as metal as it gets, man.
For sure. And you grew up in Lewisburg, West Virginia. What is Lewisburg known for, that area? I'm not familiar with Lewisburg.
Well, it's the southeastern corner of the state. It's probably best known for being very near the Greenbrier Resort.
Oh, wow.
It's one of the oldest settled parts of the United States. It was the settlement.
I'm looking on the map as we're speaking, so go ahead.
The settlement goes all the way back to the General Andrew Lewis, after whom the city is named, founding Fort Savannah during the French and Indian War.
Wow.
But there were the neighboring town, which in West Virginia is pronounced Roncevert, is actually Roncevert, which was named by the Marquis de Lafayette.
I see. Roncevert, Ronceverte.
Yeah, Roncevert.
Yep.
And it's the history of the area goes all the way back to the early 1600s.
It's an interesting part of the country. It's like due west from Richmond, Virginia.
Yeah. Yep. It's about 3.5 hours or so from Washington, D.C.
Wow.
And Charlotte's the big city to the south. I mean, that's the running joke with people in West Virginia. What's the southernmost point of West Virginia? Charlotte, North Carolina, because that's where everybody goes to get a job when they graduate from high school.
So speaking of high school, is it in high school where you met the Crandle brothers?
I actually met them when I was going into junior high school.
Mm-hmm.
Around 6th grade, 7th grade, you're 12, 13 years old. I met Jet, our singer, Jesse Crandle. I met him basically through band, and also we ran track together. And we got to be good friends. We played in the school band together. Jet went on to get a music education degree at BU, and is just an immensely talented musical person. I mean, you can put an oboe in his hand and he can play it like he can play anything, and definitely the theorist of our band. And then his brother is about 4 years older than me, and I got to know them because I was one of the only guys in town who even had a drum set, let alone could halfway play the thing. And he had a band called Wolfen, and the drummer wanted to become the singer, and so they were looking for a drummer for the band. And so that's how I really met Ben, was becoming the drummer for Wolfen.
So this is a Wolfen shot from 1983. You must be pretty young here.
Yeah, I was 13. That's me 13. On the far left.
Wow.
And that is a black leather fedora I'm wearing.
I like the 1983 look coming out of West Virginia.
Yeah,
It's a real cornucopia of styles and textures. It's great.
yeah, it's like, what can you do when that heavy bandana Van Halen influence
And
going
I
on.
love the bullets coming out of the left.
Yeah, the bullet belt, and
Yeah.
there's a lot going on here. The moccasin boots, the like Ted Nugent moccasin boots.
Winning with those winning. You just don't see those anymore.
Well, I think I also, one thing I can definitely point out is the guy that's on the far right. He's no longer with us, and he was a dear buddy of ours. But dude was born with like the coolest heavy metal name of all time. His real name was Yukon Knight.
Nice.
And you can't even make that up. So, yeah, William Yukon Knight. We called him Yuck. He was a good guy.
Paulie asks, "Was the photo taken in an alley?" I don't know if there are. I don't know if there are alleys in that town. It looks like more of a storefront on Main Street to me.
I think it's in front of a garage door.
Yeah,
I think that's.
There you go. There you go. So you come up. You sort of you go through you go through the process down there, and you end up going up to Boston. You went to school at Northeastern, right?
Yeah, I went to college at Northeastern, and Ben and Jet were already up here, going to BU. Their parents had gone to BU, and
oh wow.
And I moved up here. Basically, the idea was to start a band with Ben. That's the whole reason I chose Boston for college, was to start a band with Ben. When I got up here, we had a couple of little projects after Wolfen. Wow. We had spent a summer playing in a band called TKO, and then we had another band called Brain Hammer, and
love it.
And the plan was to start a band, and by the time we got up here, I got up here. We started in June of 1988. We were rehearsing on Boylston Street, right across from the Star Market, like just a few blocks from Fenway Park.
Well, that's the
yep,
infamous rehearsal space. I remember that place. That place was there when I was up in Boston, right? It was like right on the right on that same, almost, is that the same block as Fenway Park, or it's up farther?
It's like 3 blocks down and 1 block up from Fenway. It's right around the corner. Yeah.
Right. And
yeah.
But that was, I remember everybody rehearsed there back in the day. I mean, that was like, there was a whole bunch of rehearsal rooms in there.
Yeah, I mean, even when we were there, I believe Gangrene was still in there. The Boss Tones were in there.
Yeah, I remember the Boss Tones being in there.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember an old Boston band called 2 Million BC.
Yes,
was
I do.
In there.
I do.
And I think for a short time, what's the name of their band? I think Left Nut was in there too, if I remember correctly.
I wanted to mention, I want to kind of take a sidetrack here. And you and I discussed this a little bit when we were talking yesterday about Boston and sort of the musical environment of Boston at the time. I went to college up there in 1981, and it was an incredibly vibrant place for music. Can you give us a little take on that?
Yeah, I mean, that was another reason I really wanted to move up here, was because, in my mind, there were 3 rock and roll cities in the United States. It was New York, LA, and Boston. And, I wanted to be up here, of course, to start something with Ben. But also when you moved up, I moved up here, and one of my first jobs was working the door at an old Boston rock club called Bunratty's.
Oh, wow. Of course.
And I worked there I worked the door and some day bar there for a couple of years. And I really loved it. And there were so many bars and clubs and so many different bands from different styles of music, and the scene was all really inclusive, that you could go out and see a good show every single night of the week. And sometimes you would have to bar hop. You would say, oh, I'm going to go see so-and-so at 9:00, and then I'm going to cut across town to the Rat and see so-and-so at 10:00,
Sure.
and then try to make it down to the Channel for so-and-so at 11:00. And, those places, particularly the Rat, Bunratty's, and of course the infamous Channel, that's the Channel. I was just completely in awe of the Channel. Those first few shows I saw there, it was incredible.
And the thing about Boston, and it's not unique. There's a lot of these, college towns around the country or even around the world. But I think what's interesting about a place like Boston too is there's a constant turnover of kids graduating or failing out and going home, and new kids coming in. So at the time, you would go to record stores, and there would just be constant, turnover of you. And we used to go to used record stores. They were so much fun. I mean, because it was just so much. Kids would be failing out of school, and hey, selling their record collection. New kids coming. So it was just an incredibly vibrant city to be a part, to go to school in. I mean, I crapped out of school really quick because I veered off. I saw SSD Control play and got it, and so my life kind of changed, and I got into the hardcore thing, and I had a hard time focusing in school because I was leading like kind of an exciting musical life, and it was hard for me to sit in a class. I wanted to play music and do stuff,
I hear you. I see somebody here in the chat, Francis Larry Kelly, mentioned Sunday night at Father's too.
Yeah.
That was another thing. It was like that wasn't a music venue, but Thursdays and Sundays at Father's, which later became PJ Kilroy's. That was, that's where people congregated. That's, I used to meet John Darga from Wrecking Crew down there all the time. And you would just run into so many people. That was another thing about that scene. Or like Tuesday night at Bill's Bar, which was a little later, but that was, these were places were not necessarily built around it being a nightclub or a place where people were playing live, but people were still congregating and being social with each other and putting together those shows. And it was, really vibrant time period.
I think in talking about it, I'm sort of coming to the self-realization that, being in that environment, in that atmosphere, for me, I've never really acknowledged it. It was just such a huge part of putting me on a creative path, as a young person. I've never really sort of, stared at that. And it's very, now that we're talking about it, it was just being in that environment, and it was new. And it's just that time and that era, live music was a very big thing. I mean, it was all about live music. People would go out and see live music. Like you said, you go to fucking three places in one night. So a very exciting time to be playing music. And here you are, right? Very, very early on. Look at the bod on that kid, huh? Come on now.
As I think I'm 18 years old in that photo.
I want that bod back.
Hey, me too, man. Shit, I'll take it.
Yeah. So when you first got together with these guys, was it we are Sam Black Church, or was there an evolution there? Walk us through it a little bit.
Well, Ben had developed. He and Jed at first at BU, they had played and they had a band together that I could best be described as avant-garde. It was rock, but it was definitely strange and had a kind of Zappa-esque humor to it called Alex the Driver. And then Ben had started making these demos that were just guitar and bass, but they were really, angular and odd meter and atonal and just kind of weird, but incredibly entertaining. And we knew that we wanted to do something heavy. We knew we wanted to do something fast. I think that we were definitely, leaning over in the direction of a lot of thrash that was going on at the time. What, of course there were the more mainstream things like Metallica, but it's also like the Overkills and the Nuclear Assaults and the Overkill, Nuclear Assault, Sacred Reich, that kind of stuff.
So at a lot of the some of that stuff is crossover, but some of it is straight thrash.
Yep.
I didn't realize that really you guys were so influenced by sort of that era of thrash bands.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the biggest influences initially beyond our, upbringing of like straight up rock and roll and metal, like the AC/DCs and the Van Halens and stuff, and kind of mainstream metal bands like Judas Priest and Iron Maiden, was really Bad Brains and Cro-Mags. That there was this one summer that Ben, being older than us, had come back to West Virginia from Boston, and he had a stack of records with him that really just blew my mind and changed everything about music for me. And it had some mainstream stuff, and it was like the first time I heard Metallica Ride the Lightning, which just blew my mind. But it's like it had Motorhead and Husker Du and Cro-Mags and Bad Brains, and it was this stack of like 10 or 12 records that just blew everything I thought I knew about heavy music out of the water, being a little country kid who got all of his music at either Walmart or Kmart, or ordered it out of the back of Cream magazine or something,
Sure.
And so that really right before I moved to Boston, that summer of discovering that different realm of kind of like the crossover stuff, but also some of the punk element of like Husker Du and stuff like that, really it was a really big changing point.
And of course, those years, this stuff was really bubbling up. The Sacred Reichs and the Nuclear Assaults. This stuff was really bubbling up and dare I say, somewhat groundbreaking at the time. A lot of that stuff was very, very different. Very, very different. It was definitely, taking from here, taking from there, and creating this. So there was a nice air of there was some originality in the air. It was cool.
Absolutely. And it's really interesting in how it happened for Sam Black. Was our first show ever was with was opening for Jerry's Kids and Straw Dogs.
Wow.
And we, this is an old picture from the Rat. This is our first photo shoot. The photo's taken by Dave Tree from the band Tree.
Wow, we just had him on. We just had him on the show.
Yeah, I watched that a few weeks ago, and the whirling dervish of Dave Tree.
Yeah, he's for sure.
And to us, I think, and I don't want to speak exclusively for the rest of the band, but I think that if you ask the guys in the band, we would agree that at least initially we thought of ourselves as a metal band. But with our performance style, and particularly the way Jet sang and performed, we were really embraced by the Boston hardcore community more than the Boston like heavy metal establishment. and that's not to cast aspersions on anyone. And we just ran with it. It's like the people who, if these people like us, we're gonna go over here, and that's how we benefited from those early relationships with, like, we wouldn't have ever gotten jump started without the help of Mark McKay from Slapshot. Came to our second show ever and gave us a blank check and said, you have to go into the recording studio, and that's how we made our first 7-inch. And he also, having his Slapshot street cred, that he was endorsing us in any way, shape, or form, really gave us a boost in the Boston scene.
That's great. Now, but before, I don't want to say he's an unsung hero, but certainly, I think a big part of the band is Sean, right? And could you tell us, how he came into play and through the years, what his involvement in the band has been?
Absolutely. So Sean was an assistant manager at the channel at the time, and he was also doing some side shows of his, promoting some side shows of his own as Cringe Productions.
Yeah.
And he was doing shows at Green Street Station, which was right down the street from where our bassist Rich lived. He lived right up the block on Green Street. And our first show, like I mentioned, our first 2 shows were at Green Street, and we met Sean. Sean saw us, and really freaked out over the band. And at the time, we were being managed by our buddy John Sandler, who owns Village Hi-Fi now in Brookline Village, Massachusetts. Great guy, fantastic friend, still an old dear friend of the band. And he knew that Sean could do a lot more for us. And so he kind of stepped aside gracefully, and Sean started managing us and booking shows around town. And we got our first breaks with, oh man, we're opening lots of really cool shows at the channel, from hardcore shows like opening for Slapshot and Bad Brains and Leeway, but we're also playing metal shows opening for like Death Angel. Wow. and Dark great. Angel and bands like that. And so we're getting this exposure, and of course, hey, we're just benefiting from our managers and assistant manager at the channel. But then Sean was always really good about helping us punch up, that we would finally headline a day show at Bunratty's, and then we would go for day, headlining a 21 plus night show on a Friday, and then let's go for headlining the Paradise. And so he was really integral in helping us keep taking the next step forward, keep upping our game in lots of different facets. Because, I'll be perfectly honest to tell you that, we were coming from rural West Virginia. We were pretty naive. We didn't know a lot of things. We didn't understand how these scenes worked,
What was there sort of like, I'm just curious, was there like sit down sort of like get-togethers talking about, concept of like, this is what we should do? Did Sean sort of bring in like, or were you just sort of just plowing ahead?
I think that there's a little bit of both. I mean, we would definitely sit down and conceptualize and try to figure out what our next steps were and how we were going to try to play around the region and get up to Portland and down to Providence, and, trying to get into those, shows that, we played both metal shows and hardcore shows at CBGB. We would be down there playing with, 25 to Life and Coming Correct and Madball, 1 month, and then a month later we would be down there playing with Crisis,
Right.
or Helmet or somebody, and played with so many New York bands over the years that before the show I was like, what New York bands can I remember, because I didn't want to leave anybody out, so I made a quick little list for you here.
Please.
Propane, Crawl Pappy, Sheer Terror, Sick of It All, Typo Negative, Marauder, Burn, Orange 9mm, Cro-Mags, Helmet, Leeway, Killing Time, Biohazard, Mucky Pup, Murphy's Law, Crisis, 25 to Life, Coming Correct, Madball, and even though they weren't a New York band, I do remember we had one fantastic show at the Limelight on like a Memorial Day weekend with Agent Orange.
Nice.
But played with a lot of New York bands. There was one quick little tour we did in the Northeast that to this day, I still scratch my head over it. It was Typo Negative, Sick of It All, Wrecking Crew, and Sam Black Church.
Wow.
And
what a mix.
Yeah, right.
What a mix. What is this one here? I might be jumping a year or two, but isn't this a road trip here?
Yeah, this is a road trip that I want to say that we were, I want to say this is at a college, but I'm usually really good at remembering where these photos were taken. This is a photo with there are a couple, excuse me, a couple of friends from Only Living Witness. That's Jonah Jenkins in the red hat in the center. And standing next to me I'm in the white shirt on the right, he in the blue shirt, that's Eric Stevenson, who was the drummer for Only Living Witness, and he's no longer with us. But what a fantastic guy. We used to spend hours on the phone just talking about Black Sabbath. And our friend in the back standing next to Sean McNally, Sean McNally's giving the peace sign. Sean just commented, I think that's right. It was that was a show to play with Bad Trip at NYU. That's what it was. I knew it was a college show.
I gotta say, I love the shirt the guy in the middle's wearing, the "On the Road Again" shirt with the like that. I'd rock that. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's
that's like
we were always
that's like a truck stop. Like
I was just about to say, Sam Black Church, particularly Ben, who that is, we definitely had a thing for truck stop fashion. The nastier the better. If you could find a really foul trucker hat, I once traded a funny little story when I was working at Bun Ratty's one night. I was wearing a Sam Black Church shirt, promoting my band, of course. Early on, this is like 1991, 92, and Randy Castillo, Ozzy's drummer, came in.
Sure.
And they were playing at Great Woods or something or whatever. But he asked me, he was like, "Man, I see this shirt everywhere. I see this band. Like, what is this band?" And I was like, "Actually, it's my band, and I'm the drummer." And blah 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 blah. And he was like, "Well, hey, do you have a shirt?" And I said, "No, but I'll just give you the one off my back." So he traded me his shirt, and he was wearing a kind of generic Harley Davidson shirt, but on the back it said White's Truck Stop, Racine, Virginia, which is like a very well-known truck stop near my home.
Wow.
And so I was like, "Oh man, that's great," and so we traded. I still have it to this day. Of course, there's no way of proving, unless they did some kind of DNA test. There's no way of proving it was Randy Castillo's.
Right.
But the funny thing is, when I started dating my current girlfriend, she was showing me a picture of hers from high school, and she had the same T-shirt on.
there you go. And of course, Randy Castillo sadly passed away very young. He was incredible, a great drummer. There was a documentary I watched about him a while ago. Really interesting cat. I think he play. Wasn't he a Motley Crue for a second?
He was in Motley Crue for a second. He also
Yeah.
played on some Lita Ford records.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and he was
American Indian, I believe.
Yes.
Was his
Yep.
nationality? Yeah.
And what a cool guy. When he came in more than once to Bun Ratty's, and the story. I wasn't at the Aussie show, but I had friends who were there who said that he wore the Sam Black. He cut the sleeves off the Sam Black shirt and he wore it for the first song, and then he played without his shirt on the rest of the show. So, flying the local colors.
That's important, and that was nice of him.
Absolutely,
nice of him to do that. With this kind of picture as the background, I just want to walk through. So you did you did a demo. Mark picked you up for the unincorporated 7-inch, right?
Yep.
On Grinding Halt Records, and then Tang Records comes into play, and I know you guys were on Tang, for a couple years there. Let It Life, right? The Sam Black Church record and Super Christ.
Yep.
How did the Tang thing come to be? Give us a little perspective on kind of that run.
Well, really, it was just seeing Curtis out and about at different shows. Obviously, around that time period, he was having a lot of success with the Lemonheads and the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, and Slapshot had just put out the Sudden Death Overtime album, and so it really was kind of an offhand comment. One time I ran into him and I was like, "So when are you going to sign Sam Black Church?" And so they gave us an offer, and we especially because I think just being associated with such a Boston pedigree, whether it was Jerry's Kids and Gangrene, or the Titanics and the Freeze, and all of those great bands, we jumped on it, and in all honesty, initially the relationship with Tang was great,
right?
And
this was the first release, Let in Life.
This is the second one. The first one is the Purple album that's self-titled. That's like an EP.
Okay.
We busted that out really quickly.
I got them confused, right?
And then Let in Life was the first full length, and then Super Christ is the second full length.
And then this one, Super Christ. Any memories of recording this stuff? Anything special, and any fond recollections you could lay on us regarding sort of these sort of halcyon days?
Absolutely. I mean, the first EP was recorded at a place called The Lanes, which was in the alley next to Bun Ratty's. So
wow.
you could come out of Bun Ratty's and walk straight into The Lanes. So there was a lot of there were always a lot of people hanging out there. I mean, it was a small studio, but it was really cool, and you would see anyone from like New Kids on the Block to Extreme, to us, and
going deep on the Boston shit, man.
Neighborhoods. The Neighborhoods would be there, the Bags, and we got to be really good friends with the house people there. Our front of the house engineer, Steve Malone, who had also worked with the Boss Tones, was kind of doing demos for us there and stuff. And we were also we had a relationship with a guy named Rich Costi, who has since gone on to become a very, very successful record producer. He's worked with everyone from like David Bowie to Fiona Apple to Black Sabbath. I mean, the guy has just done all of this crazy stuff. But he used to sneak us into Berklee College of Music to one of their small studios, and we would literally like play one song, like bang out a demo, and then hop back out. And so he worked on a number of our basically worked on most of the records we put out, particularly those demos that became That Which Does Not Kill Us. And we made Let in Life down at a studio on Boylston Street at the same time that It's right around the time that Guns N' Roses was using the same studio to record the songs that became the Spaghetti Incident.
I didn't know that Guns N' Roses recorded up in Boston.
Yeah, they. I don't know if they. I think it was just a song or two. I forget which one it was.
Mhm.
I'm blanking on it. I think that a bunch of bands were coming through that studio. It really, at the time, it was a state of the art place.
Right.
What
was the name again?
And I'm man.
Sean McNally, where are you?
Sean McNally, are you out there? Tell us what recording studio it was.
He'll know. He'll know.
But yeah, and then we made Super Christ at a place called Studio 45 in Hartford, Connecticut.
Oh wow. Sound
Techniques. That's it. That's the name of the studio. Duncan Wilder Johnson coming in for the save.
Right.
Sound Techniques.
Right.
And then we made the Super Christ record at Studio 45 in Hartford, Connecticut, which is also the same place that we used when we did the demos for Geffen. We recorded it.
Who knew such things existed? A high-end recording studio in Hartford, Connecticut? Holy mackerel.
That place had a great live room and a sick collection of snare drums.
There you go. There you go.
I recorded that record with a very rare 15-inch Gretsch snare drum that they had.
Right on. So before we sort of get to the sort of the downside of the Tang thing,
sure.
I'm just sort of looking to see. Here's a good one. What's going on? Yeah.
This is the video shoot that we did for the song Super Christ. We're all dressed as priests. And this video was made by a very successful director named Dave Gulick, who was really cutting us a deal by letting us do this. And we filmed it at the abandoned Metropolitan State Hospital in Waltham. It's an abandoned insane asylum. And
I was looking at this and I was going, this just screams, like the background screams Massachusetts to me. And I was like, I'm like wondering, like, is it a school? Like, what is in the background, you know?
Yeah, it's one of those places that's always ends up on those shows like Ghost Hunters and stuff. It was a genuinely spooky ass place. I will tell you. I wonder
if it's still there.
It's straight out of Central Casting, that place. Right. The reason we got to do that was because Dave Gulick, the director, was friends with another director who was shooting an episode of the X-Files there.
Oh, and wow.
As long as we stayed out of their set and away from their production, we could do whatever we wanted to do. So we were kind of there on Fox's dime.
That's amazing. Yeah.
So yeah, just getting sneaky. It was great.
Yeah. Listen, in the golden age of music video, we did what we could. I was involved in many of those situations. It reminds me of, I was a stage manager on a stage once, and a production company shot on a Friday and a Saturday, and they left a very expensive high-end 35 millimeter camera package on the stage. And we got Antidote, the band I was in at the time, we got everybody in on that Sunday, and a couple people I know, that work in the film business. And we used that 35 millimeter camera, and we shot a fucking 35 millimeter, music video on a sound stage. It was bold to say. It was bold to say the least, man. This is
sometimes you got to do what you got to do, man.
Yeah, like that's something that only you could do in your fucking 20s, right?
Right.
This one is labeled Backstage at the Paradise. What's going on here?
Oh yeah, so this was in 1993. We were filming the video for Infernal Machine from the Lead and Life album, and Paradise. We got in there early. We did sound check, and then we did a lot of shooting before the crowd came in, and then we played the show. And this is us backstage right before we were about to walk out for basically our first encore, because you can see we're all smiling and happy, and that's because it was the first time we ever heard a crowd chant our name.
Aw, that's awesome.
Oh, it's adorable.
No, that's awesome, man.
I mean, it was, it's like, that's
know.
something that a lot of, people need to remember. One thing that's definitely true about Sam Black is that, we were just some friends who got together to try to play, and the thing after a little bit took on a life of its own. And that's something that's really cool about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, let me take a sponsor break here.
Sure, man.
And let's come back and we'll sort of talk about how the Tang thing sort of played out, which wasn't pretty, and we'll talk about Geffen, and we'll talk about a couple of the other records after that, and the reunions and stuff. So I'll see you.
Awesome.
Give me a couple minutes.
Sure, man. Sounds good.
All right. There you go. Our guest today from Sam Black Church, J.R. Roach. Hope you're enjoying it, at least have as much as I am. Let's have a word from our sponsor. We'll come back and we'll get right to it.
Since 1992, Generation Records has been a mainstay of the New York metropolitan area music scene. Today, they offer a diverse selection of new and used rock, jazz, indie, hip-hop, punk, hardcore, metal, blues, soundtrack, and reggae LPs, as well as t-shirts, posters, and other merchandise. They buy used record collections and music memorabilia and will pay you top dollar for them. House calls made for large collections in the tri-state area. Call or email generationrecords@gmail.com and follow them on Facebook and Instagram.
Hey guys, Vlad from Organic Grill. As you can see, we're in a new location on West 3rd Street, right by Blue Note and Comedy Central. The place is bigger, kitchen is bigger, we have more varieties, more food. We are looking forward to treat you guys with great dishes. All Hardcore Chronicles, welcome to Organic Grill. We are going to serve all the events as we usually do, and we are happy to see you guys.
Peace, what it do? Welcome to NYHC Comics at 117 Main Street, Dobbs, Surrey, New York. I'm Debo the Pro with my homie
Lee Farley.
Welcome to the spot. Specializing in yesterday's and today's comic books, rare CGCs, toys, collectibles.
Got skateboards, old school tapes, Magic the Gathering, Warhammer.
Video games, original art pieces by your favorite New York City and worldwide artists. Let's go. Skate decks all day, baby.
We also have the young reader section here for like 10 and under. Pops. People love the Pops.
Star Wars! We are New York hardcore. We always rep the scene. Let's get it on.
Greetings. Welcome back. This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. I want to mention a couple upcoming shows. 1 week from today, get your shoes and socks on, kids. It's right around the corner. Clank your chains and count your change. It's a Halloween show. And special for this Halloween show, if it will only come up. There you go. My brother, Evan B. Stone, literally my brother, Evan B. Stone. He's been on before. You know, he was a cinematographer, Expedition Unknown. He worked, Finding Bigfoot, Ghost Hunters. We're doing a Halloween show, Adventures of a Ghost Hunter, with my brother and one of his ghost hunting buddies, Jack from J&J Adventures, and Craig Satari from Sick of It All, who's a big paranormal guy. So Craig Satari, my brother, this is a week from today, Halloween show, should be a lot of fun. And then I got to scoot right out and get my ass down to Organic Grill because we have a show right after. But a week from today is the Halloween show. A week after that is Giz Butt, English Dogs, Prodigy, Janice Stark, and the Destructors. Come on now. Big fish we hooked here. Youth from Killing Joke. He has The Fireman with Paul McCartney. As a producer, he produced The Verve, Pink Floyd, The Orb. Wednesday, November 8th. Very excited to have Youth on the show. And a week after that, yes, the return of the lunatic, Jack Grisham. Love Jack Grisham. Can't wait to get him on the show. We had a blip, a misstep last time. He got his plane and he couldn't get on. So I'm excited. This is what I'm real excited about. Non-residents, Sunday, November 19th. The two brothers, Joe Nelson. Speaking of Boston hardcore and, of course, SSD Control, Joe is behind Trust Records, and they are re-releasing The Kids Will Have Their Say. Lots to talk about with Joe Nelson. He's also the original singer for Ignite. Johnny Santos, our old friend Johnny Santos from Spineshank and currently Silent Civilian. I toured with Johnny when I was out with Biohazard, when I was tour managing for Biohazard. Biohazard, Sepultura, Spineshank. This is going to be fun. Good guy. We're also going to bring up Tommy from Spineshank, Tommy Decker. This is going to be a great one. This is an old friend. Haven't announced this one yet. Mike from Channel 3 has a book coming out, and we are doing a book event in New York on Sunday, November 11th at Generation Records. I am moderating that. I figure why not have him on the show? For those that cannot make it to the book event, we will be talking about his new book, Miles Per Gallon. Then, of course, here we go. Incredible but true, episode number 300 with Ray Capo of Youth in Today and Shelter. So lots of great stuff going on, including the new book is out, the New York Hardcore Chronicles Volume 2, 1990 to 1999. It is available at www.Stone Films NYC, as is the first volume. There are only 30 copies of the first one left, and that's going to be it. They won't be getting printed up again, or certainly not anytime soon. So there's only 30 copies left of the first one. The second one's been released. They look real nice together on the bookshelf. There's some continuity there. The book, pick it up at www.Stone Films NYC. It ships out the next day on the conveyor belt system that we have here in the Upper West Side of Manhattan. Also, I want to mention, of course, the book is free for all patrons. For those that support the show, and I want to shout out a couple of my new patrons, Kristen and Jay Banks. Please support the show. Be a patron on Patreon. Get the book for free. It's looking like the Incendiary Device release CD will be available for all patrons for free. So that's the next thing. After, now that you all have the book for free, you will get the Incendiary Device CD for free. We're trying to sort that out with Bridge 9 Records right now. So please, you love the show, support the show. And I fucking love everybody that does, man. Thank you so much. So there you go. Listen, man, I got one for you. Just give me an address, you renegade, and I'll send one to you. So there you go. Is that right, Al? You got your copy? Good. Enjoy it. Is that right? Livingston, New Jersey. What's up? Yeah, Evan Stone is coming on the show. So that said, yeah, gentleman Jack Grisham. I love when Jack Grisham comes on the show. ID album, yes. ID album will be on vinyl. And you know what? Why not? Where is the? Why don't I just slip the cover on here? This is the cover. It's not. This is the album cover of the Incendiary Device record. There you go. That's what we're talking about. It will be released on vinyl. This is going to look nice. This is going to look nice on vinyl. So so there you go. That's the Incendiary Device album cover. You know, photo by Steven Messina. There you go. And so there you go. That's what's up. Join Patreon. If you have a question for our guest, there's a super chat function. You know, just support the show. What do you want me to tell you? You know, what do you want me to do? Smoke it for you? So that said, let's bring our guest back on. Yes, it is self-titled. It is the self-titled Incendiary Device record on Bridge 9. The pre-order is going up in the next week or so. The Incendiary Device music video, the video is being dropped in the next week or so. And so there you have it. Lots going down. In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, J.R. Roach, brother.
Lots going down, man.
Lots going down, man.
I don't know how you do it, man.
You know how I do it? I go to sleep early and I wake up early.
Smart man.
That's what I do. I sleep from 10 to 5 a.m. That's it. You know?
Right on.
That's why if anything has to happen past 10, it's the danger zone for me, bro. You know? Yes, John Stevens. Sam Black Church, Real Live 35 next weekend in work. Yep, that's right. Very, very exciting. So let's continue on our journey here.
Sure.
You know, you guys are on Tang. I know that didn't end pretty. You know, I know at a certain point, Geffen Records came calling, and you guys were ready to move over there. And Tang held you up and mucked the whole thing up for a while. Thoughts on this? Could you give us any sort of, you know, what's the company line with this?
You know, what happened was pretty simple, actually. Like I said before, we had a good relationship with Tang, but around 1990, between 1994 and 1995, they moved out to the West Coast. They still had their Boston office, but it wasn't the operation that it once had been. And he had opened up his record store. Curtis Casella had opened up his record store in San Diego. And
what, didn't he have one on Melrose too?
I think he did for a very short period of time, but I think that may have been a little after our relationship with him.
Right.
But basically what happened from our end of things is we were going into the third record of the contract, which
was Super Christ, right?
Which was Super Christ. And Curtis had lost his distribution deal with Caroline Distribution, and he didn't have the budget that was originally allotted for this record.
And so this was contractually allotted for this record, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and it, you know, it wasn't a lot. I don't, you know, specifically, I mean, it wasn't anything huge. It was like $18,000 or something like that. But so we're working on a shoestring budget, and we basically the contract said an album was defined by 30 minutes of original music, and boom, we made the record. We delivered the record. That ended the relationship with the label. We had not, you know, even so much as spoken with them for a year after that record came out. But as soon as word through the grapevine trickled down that Geffen was interested, people started sniffing around. There were conversations that, seemed to be being constructive. He was, Curtis to satisfy any kind of urge there was to get in the way. He was actually offered a pretty good deal. He was offered $100,000. He was offered 10 points on the first record, which was more than the band was going to be making. And he was offered vinyl rights to the first record. So the first record would have come out on cassette and CD on Geffen and on vinyl on Tang.
But if I may interject, if you've fulfilled your contractual obligation, then why would a deal like that for him be put on the table?
But to avoid the a lawsuit, that really, in the end, we did go into arbitration because our contract said that court wasn't an option. We had to go into arbitration. When we go into arbitration, and really the only thing that we asked for was to be released from any kind of relationship with Tang, because Tang was claiming that Super Christ was not a full-length record, that it was an EP. And by the definition of their own contract, a full-length record is defined as 30 minutes of music. And effectively, they spent $40,000 to lose in court. We went into arbitration. We came out of it, and the judge said, neither one of you owe anything to each other at all anymore. You're free from each other. And during this time period, Geffen
can I ask a question on that?
Sure.
Did Curtis own your publishing?
No.
Yeah, got me, man.
And really part of the initial kind of, I think, a little bit of a sticking point in the relationship was that Curtis wanted to own part of our merchandise.
Oh God!
And we were absolutely not having that
Hell
at
no.
all. What we did agree to was to license him Sandblack Church designs that could be exclusively Tang, that we would give him, which we did do.
But he basically wanted a sunset clause that would give him a percentage of merchandise in perpetuity.
Yeah, which was never going to happen.
Oh, fuck that.
And
that's no.
So, at the end of the day, the thing that really kind of was just bad timing was that we were freed by this arbitration. And right at that time, we had enjoyed a really great relationship with Geffen. They were being very patient. They were being very, they were debating, do we just take the risk and let this guy try to sue us over nothing? Because they looked at the contract and they saw that it was pointless. And but as an A&R agent, you also don't want to go to your higher ups and say, like, we want to sign this band that has legal baggage.
We want to sign this bag we want to sign this bag that has strings attached.
Right. And so it was a little tricky, but they had been very cool with us. It was Jody Carilla and Alex Seton, who had worked as Helmet's management and had moved from Helmet when they went to Interscope and took their next leap. Jody and Alec moved over to working for Geffen, and that's how we got to know them. Geffen and you know what, to Helmet's credit, they were very supportive for us too. They walked into Geffen Records and told them that they were stupid if they didn't sign Sandblack Church. So, we were good with those dudes. We never toured with them, but we did a lot of one-offs with Helmet. So we get free from all of that, and then in 1996 there was just a famous turnover of A&R and all of the staffs of these different record labels kind of all shuffled. They all moved around to different places. And back then, Geffen had been operating like a big independent label. They had a board in LA and a board in New York, and both had to vote to unanimously to sign you, which they had done for us. But suddenly we come out of that case and we think we're free and we're good to go and everything's all hunky-dory. And then that turnover happened, and Jody and Alec and everybody we knew at Geffen, everyone ended up leaving. Even some of them even just left the industry altogether. And so it was disappointing. We reached out to Geffen after that, and the new people there, were like, "Hey, nice to hear from you, and you have this holding contract, but we don't know you. We're not beholden to."
And that was Michael Alago, wasn't it?
Yeah, Michael Alago was the guy who took over head of like their heavy metal, hard rock A&R, and they were a little bit on the ropes too. I mean, Geffen is a shockingly successful independent record label if you know their history, which I'm sure you do. But they they had in one fell swoop, they had lost Nirvana, they had lost Guns N' Roses, they had lost, Rob Zombie had moved on from White Zombie, and there were some other losses like,
they had Sonic Youth.
Yeah, Urge Overkill.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Peter Gabriel.
That's right.
They had a pretty, the thing that was great about them is they didn't have one of these like Sony-like rosters where it's like 400 artists.
Yeah.
They had like 30 artists, but they were all badass. They were all really great bands.
Yep.
So
the new regime comes in, the legalities sort of get sorted out, and you kind of arrive on the doorstep saying, "Hey, we're clean, we're ready to go," and they were like, "We don't even know who you guys are at this point. This has been going on for so long."
Yeah.
I'd like to say that, there's a cautionary tale there, but I don't know what it is. You know what I mean? It's really just, it's not like, well, if we could have done things differently. You guys did everything you could possibly do, to move forward with your career and what you were doing. Honestly, I couldn't. I don't know where like you should have zigged instead of zagged. You just got caught in a mosh.
Yeah, man. I mean, believe me, hindsight's 2020, and even in our conversations amongst the band and everything, it's like when you get into the zigged versus zagged kind of conversations, even the possibilities there were so I don't know what the expression might be, but minuscule in their difference that I'm not sure, like,
right.
We could have just as easily signed with another indie label that could have created an issue for us.
That's right. That's right.
Very common tale. Has happened to a lot of bands. There's the cautionary tale. I would tell you, and the industry is completely different now.
Please.
So I don't know how valid this is, but I know that a lot of bands back then looked at indie labels as like, here's our stepping stone to greatness. And you just have to be really goddamn careful of what you're thinking of that stepping stone being. Because it can bite you on your ass. So hey, we I will say that Geffen was very cool in the respect that they had paid a lot of money for us to record 8 demos, and when they decided that they didn't want to follow through with a relationship, they gave us those 8 songs. They didn't charge us any money. They didn't expect to be recouped for you know, the money they had spent. So they gave us those 8 songs.
Is
And
that's this correct?
yes, it's
Yeah.
this record.
Mhm.
And we put this out ourselves. And just coincidentally, the amount of money that we made from this record exactly paid off our legal fees for getting away from Tang.
Right. Right. So
Oh, hey, there in the comments is my boy Jim Bob Healy, the singer for Blood Lightning. What's up, Jim?
there you go. What's up, Jim? You know, and yeah, it sucks. The band worked their ass off. They were unlike anyone else, super popular here in New England, would have been a solid investment for Geffen. You know, it's like you said, a lot of these labels, the Tangs, the Roadrunners, the Victory Records, Century Media, you know, a lot of bands signed these deals, and you know, a lot of bands had to work through these deals. You know, it's not unique. You know, a lot of bands had to sort through that. Unfortunately, you know, you guys got into a situation with someone like Curtis who was willing to torpedo everything, which is really too bad. Really too bad.
You know, I think in hindsight, the only thing was that I would have changed back then, at least for me. I don't want to speak for the other guys in the band, but
Right.
just from the where I was coming from mentally at the time was at one point the band, like I said, the band had a positive relationship with Tang, and at one point I had a positive relationship with Curtis, and I think being young, being 20, 25 years old, rather than letting letting the frustration of the situation get to me, I probably should have just jumped on a plane and gone out and gone to dinner with Curtis and sat down and tried to talk with him and figure out what could have been done.
Interesting.
Rather than, let kind of the rumor mill and record labels and attorneys kind of stir things up. I kind of
Sure.
wished I had swallowed my pride a little bit and gone out there and not I'm not saying go out there and plead with him, but just go out there and say, hey bro, like we used to be good. What's the deal? What's going?
Yeah, and in a situation like that, you're advised, don't speak to him. Let the lawyers handle it. And yeah, maybe that wasn't maybe that wasn't the case. Artie Alexander, who's playing in Leeway, looking forward to playing with them on October 28th. So right
Awesome.
on, Artie.
Can't wait, man. We're looking forward to
Jason
it.
Alfieri, Roach, honored to have opened for the mighty Sam Black Church back in the day up in Portland, Maine. Those were some killer shows.
Oh man, we used to love playing Portland, man. I'll tell you.
Yeah,
I don't know what
Maine,
was better,
bastion of hard and heavy music, Portland, Maine.
I don't know what was better, the shows or the parties after the shows.
Yeah, right. Let's lighten it up a little bit.
Sure.
And let's continue marching on. After you kind of did the self-released that which does not kill us make us stronger, this came out on Wonder Drug Records. This is really the last Sam Black Church studio record.
Right.
Could you paint the picture of this for us?
Yeah, we were trying to figure out what we wanted to do. We had all of this material, because you got to realize that even the stuff that we were recording for Geffen was to us a good 2-3 years old.
Sure.
And so we had a ton of material, and we really had a great relationship with Ken Smar, who owned Wonder Drug Records, and Duncan Wilder Johnson worked there as well. And we just felt like, after going through the major label stuff, after going through the stuff with Tang, we felt like being local and being with people who we knew and we trusted. We legit
Sure.
trusted Ken, and knew that he knew the the situation with Tang, and that how messed up it was, and that he in his own way wanted to try to do us right. And we love Kenny, and so basically we went in and recorded. Ken produced the record. He's quite the engineer as well.
Mm.
And we went in, and it's a fat record. It's like 16, 17 songs.
Wow.
And it's among my favorites. When I it's, how band people are. You rarely sit around and ever listen and critique your own stuff anymore.
Ain't that the truth?
But if I ever pull out if I ever pull out a Sam Black record, this is pretty much the one I pull out.
Right on.
But it was also a transition period. Our original guitarist, Ben Crandle, had been trying for some time to have a kid with his wife, his high school sweetheart, Kim. And they were finally expecting, and Ben didn't want to be on the road and miss anything. And so he kind of, took an extended leave of absence, and our good buddy, Zach Andrian from the bands Maelstrom and Bigwig, stepped in. So Ben recorded this record, but shortly thereafter, Zach took over touring duties. And we hit the road for another like 2 years. We went out, and we went at it. We went at it pretty hard. But there were also just a lot of things. The industry was really in flux around the around 2000. Between 2000 and 2010, I feel like the industry just was like just didn't know what it was doing. Bands didn't know what they were doing. Managers didn't know what they were doing. Labels didn't know what the hell was going on.
It was a fucked up time. The whole digital thing was coming in. It was like really a confusing time, and live music was kind of suffering. It was a confusing time.
And so, really, we got to the last really official show as us still being a band together was in December of 1999, opening for the Boss Tones at the Hometown Throwdown, when they still used to do it at the Middle East downstairs.
Oh wow! I didn't know they used to do it down there.
Yeah, it used to be. They'd be down there for a whole week. It would be like 5 days of shows or something.
Wow!
And we had just played those shows. It was, there was just a lot going on, man. People get married, people have mortgages, people have lives.
100%.
And
100%.
We had been doing it at that point. We had been doing it for 12 years straight, like going at it as hard as we could. And we just decided that for whatever reason, we wanted to take a break. And
going into it at that point, was it let's take a break, or was it this thing's over?
I mean, let's put it this way. I think it was, in some ways it was over, but it was also, we had very clear discussions that we always wanted to leave the door open, that we didn't want to be one of those bands who said, hey, we're announced to the world, we're breaking up. Here's our last show. We're playing at the Middle East, and everybody comes out. And then 5 years down the road, you're doing it again.
Sure.
And for us, for whatever it's worth, whether it's the name or whatever, a little bit of mystique had always worked for us. And we figured if we just leave it open-ended, if we kind of just like disappear into the mist and people don't know what's going on with us, then when we do decide, if we decide we want to do something, then it's going to be special. And that's how it's played out.
Well played, my man. It's because my perception, you guys, really, you didn't, how do I say it? You didn't break the band up, but basically at this point, the merry-go-round kind of swings around every couple years, and you play a great show that's worth playing, and the fans turn out every, like, what, 2 to 5 years you'll do
5
that.
years, yeah, something like that, yeah.
And you've done that, dare I say, sort of consistently. There was 2007, 2013. The thing at the Paradise. I mean, you guys have come back every couple years, and that's a nice place to be. I think for your fans and for the band, that's kind of great.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly worked out well. We all, it's not just it's not just 35 years of the name Sam Black Church still riding out there like it's Jet and 4 other dudes or something.
Yeah, right.
It's the original band plus Zach.
Right
it's
on.
the real dudes.
Right.
And we think that that's special, and we still love each other a lot, and we still get along great. The best part of these rehearsals, best part of these reunions are the rehearsals.
Yeah.
You're in the room, you're finishing each other's sentences, you're telling the stories, it all comes back.
It's nice. I've said it before. I'm in a band now, with guys that I like and that are my friends, and there's no, we enjoy, spending time together. And I was talking about it the other day. Part of it is when we get into the rehearsal room, it's about the rehearsal room and spending time together. It's not about, let's hear about your fucking problems with your kid and your booger eating kid and the wife and the job and the dog. Nobody comes in with that shit. When you walk through that door, it's us. It's the brotherhood, and I'm enjoying that. In the band that I'm in now, very very much. After being, dealing with a whole bunch of shit for a whole bunch of years. So it's
a little bit, that rehearsal space is a little bit of a sanctuary from the bullshit. It's where you go to make art.
Yeah. Hey, I want to ask you something, and then we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to do a strong round at pictures and questions from around the world. But
Sure.
I want to ask you before we go about the connection between Sam Black Church and Bad Brains.
Oh man. Well, we worship them. And we were very fortunate over the years to play with virtually every lineup they ever had. Israel, H, Chuck Mosley,
Wow.
Mackie.
Taj, did you play with Taj?
I don't believe we did play with Taj.
I think they only did one show or two with him.
Yeah, I don't think we did Taj. But I will say one thing.
Chuck Mosley, that's a good one.
The Chuck Mosley one is good.
Is that right? It's Daryl's birthday today. Wow.
Oh, look at that. And even when, do you remember, back before Israel joined the band, they did a special day-long event at the Wetlands that was shown live on MTV, where it was like open auditions to sing for the Bad Brains.
I do not recall this.
Yeah, so they had this thing where they would occasionally go to it between commercial breaks or whatever, and they would show these randos singing with the Bad Brains at the Wetlands.
How about that?
And they called us up and they said, we need some ringers too. It's not like we're actually expecting Jet to leave Sam Black Church and join Bad Brains, but will you come down and sing a song? Or something?
That's great. That's
so Jet went down. I was beside myself that I couldn't get out of work and go down there with him, but he went down there and he sang House of Suffering with them.
Oh, that's great.
And basically, lots of stories with them, and we got to be really good friends with them. And really, they were the catalyst for our first real reunion show in 2007, because they had invited us to open for them at Avalon before it became House of Blues. And we'd agreed. We were like, yeah, we'll bust out a 45-minute set or whatever. We haven't played in 6 years. Let's have some fun. And then so the show fell through. I think maybe H had health issues or something, but the show fell through, and we all said, well, we've already committed to do this, so let's just do our own show.
Right.
And that's how the first reunion show happened at the Roxy in 2007. But yeah, they're just cool guys, man. They're in our documentary. Doc, I remember one of our first shows with them. We were up upstate New York. We were playing with them in Rochester, and the part where the bracket goes into the top of the kick drum that's always made with shitty white metal that just wears out, like it had stripped out. And so I went to their longtime the guy, their road manager, Carrie, has been, was with them for
Alvin, wasn't
Alvin? Yeah, he was with them too.
Alvin, I remember, boy, Alvin was with them in the like 80, 81. I remember Alvin. Yeah.
Yeah, they had their crew locked in. I'll tell you that. And I went to Carrie and I said, hey, do you guys have a drill that I can like drill out this thing? Because they always had like the full rig going. And he said, let's go ask Doc. And Doc was like, yeah, I got a drill. And he pulled out the drill. And then we went into the club, and he got down on his knees and starts fixing my kick drum. And I'm like, hey, you don't have to do that. I can just let me have the drill. I'll fix it. And he's like, no, man, I got it. It's cool. And my inner 15-year-old was absolutely dying at the prospect that I was standing there watching Dr. No fix my drum set.
Yeah. That's
they were just always the coolest, and
that's incredible. And they really, you guys played with them so much, that's pretty wild.
Oh, we were always honored, man. That last time that we played with them at we'd been banned on Lansdowne Street because of a violent Halloween show at
way. Violence at a Boston hardcore show? Stop it.
On Halloween, I can't imagine.
I don't believe it.
The funny thing is they didn't say anything to us during the show, and I had even forgotten my road case and had gone back to the club and gotten my road case, and they still didn't say anything to anybody. And they called Sean the next day and said, you're banned, you're never playing Lansdowne Street again. And we were like, okay, well, whatever, fuck you. And then like a year or two later, Bad Brains were coming through touring with, I remember yesterday, I couldn't think of the band. It was Bim Scala Bim. They were touring with Bim Scala Bim.
Bim Scala Bim. Nice one.
And they asked us, they were like, hey, we're playing Boston. We're not playing with Sam Black Church. What the hell's going on? And so they told the Lions group, they're like, we're not playing unless Sam Black Church is on this bill.
Wow.
And so I think that was the last time we played with Bad Brains.
Fantastic. Hey, let me take a quick sponsor break, and we'll come back and we'll continue on. We still have a little ways to go, and we'll take some questions from around the world. Okay.
Right on.
All right. See you in a minute. This is the one, the only, often imitated, never duplicated, New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. Sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, The Organic Grill, DTFM Vinyl Distro, Generation Records, 126 Hardcore Clothing, Upstate Records, and, believe it or not, the Texas Silver Rush. They're a jewelry design firm and boutique store located in the birthplace of the Texas country music scene in Fredericksburg, Texas. They specialize in working with musicians in all music genres to design and create unique one-off pieces, as well as to style them for stage, album covers, promo photos, and, believe it or not, social media exposure. Their client list includes Rock and Roll Hall of Famers Greg Rowley, Ringo Starr, and, of course, Agnostic Front. Information and online sales are being taken at their Facebook and Instagram pages, and, of course, www.texassilverrush.com. Looking for extreme music? DTFM Vinyl has got you. Located on 13th Ave in Fargo, North Dakota, we have the state's best selection of punk, hardcore, metal, oi, ska, and more. Can't make it in? Shop online from anywhere in the good old USA at www.dtfmvinyldistro.com. DTFM Vinyl, where the policy still is and always will be death to false metal. That said, want to mention some of the upcoming events that are coming 1 week from today, after the show, after the Ghost Hunter show with my brother Evan B. Stone. We are dusting off the Drew Stone Hit Squad. It's going to be me, Tristan DeGraves on guitar, Aaron Collins from Butterbrain and White Trash on bass, and Mike Flattery from Incendiary Device on drums. We're playing Organic Grill. That's 1 week from tonight. Come on down. It's going to be a really fun event, playing all your favorites. Saturday, November 11th, I am moderating at the Generation Records book signing event. Mike McGran from Channel 3 is in town. He has a new book, Miles Per Gallon. And then Channel 3 is playing at Generation Records. The day after that is Sunday, November 12th, the Incendiary Device. It's going to jump off tonight record release show with Rebelmatic, The Craze, Cortisol, and Pembroke. This is the big one. It's also a book signing. I will be there. I will have copies of the book, the new book, as well as the first book. For those that don't have their technology game together, can order it on PayPal and have been asking me, where can we purchase the book? I'll be doing a book signing at that show November 12th. Of course, it is also available at Generation Records. Women of the Pit present an art photography exhibit here and now at the C Squad, 155 Avenue C, opening on November 17th. Kate Reddy is playing November 18th. Come on down. Don't be shy. Sunday, December 17th, our yearly banger, brought to you by New York Hardcore Comics and Women of the Pit. It is the Holiday Slamboree with Toys, Tired of Your Shit, Chum Huffer, RBNX, Butterbrain, and No Redeeming Social Value. So a lot going on. No, Drew Stone Hit Squad's not Minor Threat songs. That was a different thing we did. That was called Seeing Red. That was all Minor Threat songs. Drew Stone Hit Squad plays a couple originals and mostly cover songs. So that, yes, Aaron Collins is now in the Drew Stone Hit Squad. So we're excited about that. So come on, bring that nagging wife, bring that booger eating kid. All are welcome. Want to mention once again, of course, if you have not, I don't know what you're waiting for. Support the show on Patreon. You get the book for free. You're going to get the Incendiary Device released for free. Support the show. Support needed. If you have your communication device, follow us on Instagram at Stone Films NYC. If you're watching in rerun, there is a subscribe button right there. Subscribe, press and subscribe. Also like the show. I'm told that people should do that. Although I've never asked anyone to do the thumbs up and like the show. $50 says the Smalls kid picks his nose. Who the Smales kid? Who's that? I don't know. That said, what else? I think we're good. We're pretty good. Any questions? Go deep, go big, get weird. J.R. Roach is our guest from Sam Black Church. Big show coming up. Post your questions. Let me clear the deck. Let's see. Let's bring back on JR. Hey, man. So
Hey, I have a question. I want to know where I can get badass shoes like Purcell had for the judge shoes.
Saw those,
I
right?
need some Sam Black church shoes like that.
Hold on, let me find that picture again. I know, right?
I was
looking at
jealous. I was
Purcell.
like, oh man, you
I was
know,
looking at Purcell. Here
we're
he
merch
is.
whores. We'll put the Sam Black church symbol on just about anything, but shoes, we have not crossed into that magical land yet.
Yeah, here he is with his comfy judge, you know, slip-ons, you know.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Don't know on that one. Daniel Stagliano. Hey, Goombats. I recall you guys opening for Bad Brains with OL, Only Living Witness of the channel. Great packed show.
Yeah, that was a great. That was a 6-show. Slapshot was on that show as well. One thing that I remember from that show was Witness was on stage. We our good friend Tim Katz, who is a Boston fixture, played with the bands Seika and Strip Mind and Roadsaw. Worked all night to make a big batch of merchandise for us for that show. So he shows up at doors. We got the merchandise and everything. Only Living Witness was on first. We're in those little weird tiled backstage rooms at the channel that I think were brilliant, that they had like the linoleum on all 4 walls of the thing so that they could just spray it down if they had to. But we were sitting backstage, getting ready for the show, and Sean McNally comes back and he's like, "Oh my God, it's all gone." And we're like, "Oh no, what's all gone?" Thinking somebody stole our gear. So he's like, "Dude, I can't believe it's all gone. It's just everything's gone." And we're like, what's gone? What's gone, Sean? And he pulls out a wad of cash that would choke a horse. And he's like, "All the merch, it's all gone." And that was the first time I remember.
That's great.
The first time I
well,
remember.
you guys have one of those bands. You're fortunate. And I was in. I've been somewhat involved in another band that Biohazard, who's one of those bands that lends itself to merch. And you guys are a band that fortunately, God bless you. You do these shows, you whip up the merch, and the merch sells. So,
and I tell you that symbol has done a lot of heavy lifting for us because like I was telling the story last night to a friend that a few years ago, this is now like 20 years ago or so, but SOD did a tour with Clutch, did a reunion tour with Clutch, and they came through Boston and they played at the Middle East Downstairs. And we had done some touring with Clutch back in the day. And so I'm on the tour bus hanging out with the guys in Clutch, and Scott Ian and Dan Lilker come on the bus, and the guys in Clutch are introducing me, and they say, "Hey, this is J.R. Roach. He's the drummer from Sam Black Church." And Scott Ian's like, that's the band with like the cross thing? And I'm like, "Yeah." And Dan Lilker reaches out and he like squeezes my arm, and he's like, "An actual living, breathing member of Sam Black Church. You guys do exist." It was just funny. It was like he was talking to me like we were like we were ghosts or something. It's funny.
Rich Zoller says, "I'm a proud owner of the 7-inch." I know there was an earlier question. How many of those Mark McKay 7-inches were printed up?
2,000. They were never reprinted. If you have one, you've got an original.
And you never re-released it on anything, a comp, a CD comp or something?
Yeah, you can get it on CD, and you can stream it. Mm-hmm. But if you have the actual 7-inch vinyl, it's an original that we never remade.
John Stevens asks, did you guys ever consider remastering Let In Live, maybe in time for the 40th anniversary?
We definitely talked about Let In Life several times. I'm not even so sure that the problems with the recording of the sound of that record are even fixable through mastering.
Through remastering, right? It might be a little more deeply rooted.
We've even gone so far as to talk about re-recording it.
Oh wow.
But yeah, no immediate plans. I mean, we talk about recording here and there, and it's it's a difficult process with everybody else spread out. It would be really nice to do, though, because we've got plenty of material. We've got it. We've got probably demos of 25 songs.
Wow.
That have been sitting there forever.
Right on. Before we go to another question, a couple of the photos that Sean was so gracious to send me really helped move. Boston Common, this looks like a big one, man.
Yeah, we were really fortunate to get to play the Boston Freedom Fest.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, it's a big hemp rally. It was a hemp legalization rally that was held annually in September. Gosh, I want to say the first one was probably 94, maybe 93, 94. And they got to be really huge. The biggest one we played was estimated.
That's big, man.
By news outlets, it was estimated to be in the neighborhood of like 70,000 people
in the Boston Common.
Yeah.
Who else played? Who else is on a bill? Was on a bill like that?
Well, it was
all local bands.
For the most part, I do know that we got Clutch on there, but the 360s used to always play. Letters to Cleo, Tree, Stomp Box.
Oh yeah, Tree, right. I saw. I saw.
So it was. Yep, that's another one. That's a photo that was taken by our good friend Tara.
Digging in right there, huh?
Yep.
Digging in.
Getting in on it.
Yeah, lean in on that motherfucker. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Jeff Kellum says, Tree, 360s, Letters to Cleo, Stomp Box. Okay. Yeah, Tree always.
Right. Yeah, what was really funny is there were years where and I think maybe it got even to the point where the people who were booking it took advantage of this. But there, for many years they would book both Tree and Sam Black Church. And then there would be a year where they would just book Tree, but they wouldn't book Sam Black Church or vice versa. And we would always work in concert with Tree, that we would give them some of our set time and they would just jump up on our gear and just bust out 2 or 3 songs or the other
or vice versa.
So, we would definitely coordinate with them for that.
Right on. Rich Zoller asks, do you recall playing at Brownies in New York City around 97-ish in a very small venue? Was a great intimate show. For some reason, I think Wesley Willis played that day as well.
Well, I do remember playing Brownies many times, maybe with Sam Black. I know I played there with the Voodoo Dolls several times, and I know I played there with C60 several times. But I played there the thing I used to love about playing Brownies was Paul Bearer was the doorman.
Yeah.
And so, I would come in there playing with one of my other bands and my pants would be a little too tight or something, and Paul would give me shit. It was funny.
Yeah, and there's a Bad Brains connection there because it's literally, I don't think it's the same space, but 171A, which was the Bad Brains, rehearsal studio where they recorded the cassette, is literally right there. 171A. Speaking of clubs and all that, here's another interesting bit of ephemera. This is Club Babyhead. What do we call this? I think 97. But you guys are like right in the middle there. Sam Black Church, Life of Agony, Madball, and New School. And I love that this is just such an incredible snapshot of music that was happening at the time. You have Rancid, doing a show. You have Typo Negative, Sabotage and Stuttering John. I mean, it's just a real snapshot of how vibrant music was that back then.
Yeah, and there up top you got Vital Remains, AC, Shed, and Ritual
Yeah.
Sacrifice.
How about Napalm Death? Look at this one. Under that, Napalm Death, Obituary, and Machine Head.
Yeah.
That's pretty great.
I used to we loved playing Babyhead.
Yeah.
It was such a great club. Man, when that place was packed, it was rocking, man. That place was great.
Yeah. That's what year was that? That's 94, excuse me.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
1994. I didn't, let me see. Oh yeah, here's a good one. Just as I'm going through the photos here. Speaking of the Sam Black Church merch, here's a little. I guess you guys go big, man, right? Look at that. Look at all that, huh?
Yeah, I mean that was for our show in 2016 at Sinclair in Cambridge. Yeah, there's some oldies in there too. There's the Fear of a Sam Black Planet and the Back in Sam Black and the.
When you do these shows, and I know merch is like a roll of the dice, and I know obviously you haven't said that like there's been a problem, but if something doesn't sell out, you're doing a one-off show. Does it go to like? Is there a website of yours? Like it doesn't go into the garage for the next one, does it?
Actually, we do have sbcmerch.com.
Okay.
And so if anything's left over, people can, because people, it's a pretty steady stream of people always wanting either the basic black tee or the hoodie. It's something that amazes me. I've spoken with, Jet basically takes care of it himself, and I've spoken with him many times over the years where we don't advertise it, we don't do anything to promote it, and it's still bringing stuff in. It just blows my mind, man.
Like you said, it's like the Black Flag bars. It's like the Biohazard logo. It's like, people, discover and rediscover the band, and they want.
Well, there was a period in like the mid '90s where we worked with a t-shirt company that basically supplied like, the mid '90s versions of Hot Topic. The t-shirt shops and malls and whatever.
Yeah, sure.
And I can even tell you, like, it was astounding how many t-shirts they sold. It was astounding. Blew my mind.
That's a feel-good story there. I'm so glad that we talk about the Rough Roads and Tang and this and that. It's so nice to hear that although you guys don't play that much, when you do play, it's a joyous occasion. And that the merch is out there selling, and it's not just a crushing cautionary tale. The epilogue has a lot of joy in it. That's
absolutely, man. I mean, we love this stuff, man. We love the back. We love the backstory of it. We love that we're these little rednecks from rural West Virginia that did this thing, and it's. Like I said, it took on a life of its own in the best way. And I love it. And as far as like the merchandise, it's when we do these reunion shows, we want them to be special. So we want to create things that the people who have always been our hardcore fans really want to dig into. And so, even like in this show, the VIP package, yeah, sure. There's a meet and greet. And people can meet us and take photos and all of that stuff. But they're like really cool little VIP tchotchkes that people are going to get. And those guys, Sean and Jet, are the guys who run the merch pretty much. So they always go out of their way to make some really cool stuff. That photo was from the Palladium backstage when we.
This is the same venue that you're playing on Saturday. This is the Worcester the Worcester Palladium, formerly the EM Lowe's Theater.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we played EM Lowe's way back with, we were talking about it yesterday with Murphy's Law and Slapshot, and had many great shows there over the years. Played there with Dio and Motorhead. Played there with Guar. Play that this show that this we're backstage for. This was a co-headlining show at the New England Hardcore and Metal Fest with Nile and Iced Earth.
Wow. I told you I remember the EM Lowe's Theater in 1981. I saw the Jerry Garcia band there, and the place was a dump. I mean, the place was like a real dump. I mean, the seats were broken, and so I guess the city of Worcester, got committed and saw the value in having a venue like that, right? And they refurbished it recently, correct?
Yeah, John Peters, I believe, bought it a good while ago, and they even had, I think I was telling you, they even had a few years ago, like 10 years ago or something, they had a fire there.
Wow.
And so it definitely had its struggles over the years, but during lockdown, during COVID in 2020 and 2021, they invested, gosh, I think they put $1 million.
Is that right? Sean says it's $1 million. Yeah.
Yeah, that they put $1 million into renovating it, and it shows. I've been to some shows there recently. I went to see Rival Sons. I went to see, I think the show before that was King Diamond. Went to see Judas Priest there. I mean, if you can imagine Judas Priest in that place, it was amazing. It was great to see. I mean, I'd seen him in arenas, but to see him in a theater like that was so cool.
I mean, venues like that are cherished, man. They're not arenas. They have much more of an intimate feel. It's like, to a certain extent, like the Capitol Theater that they put $1 bazillion into here in New York.
Or the Oak Theater in, the Oak Theater in Chicago.
Or the State Theater in Detroit, that kind of thing. I don't know if Zoller, if he says that iconic shot of Jet flying from the side. Are you talking about, that wouldn't be this one, would it? Or is this something totally different?
Yep, that's the Duncan Wilder Johnson shot of us playing the hardcore metal fest with I believe this. I think this is the hardcore metal fest I think this is the one we played with Guar, if I'm correct. And this is the one and only show we ever played with Zach playing guitar and Ben Crandle playing bass, because Richard couldn't do it, so Ben flew in to play bass for him.
Right on. Yeah, that's your. And speaking of Duncan, I watched the documentary, and here you guys are doing a Q&A. I enjoyed it very much. It was very informative and really put things in perspective for me. The doc is called Leave Behind the Groove, The Story of Sam Black Church. Were you happy with it? Your thoughts on it?
Oh, I love it, man. It was a labor of love for Duncan's for a very long time. And, he was so motivated to do it that he, basically taught himself how to be a documentary filmmaker. And our friend Megan Christian helped him along the way as well. She's an Emmy Award-winning producer at Frontline. And so, yeah, we love it. It got such a great response at the premieres too, that it was really fun to go out and actually not just sit at home and watch it ourselves, but actually watch people in a theater enjoy it. It was really cool to see that.
Absolutely. I mean, as a documentary, as a filmmaker, I mean, that's, you know, as I was a young filmmaker for many years coming up, my dream was that one of my films someday would play a film festival, and I would get to go to the film festival and get to be a part of that. That was a dream of mine as a young person, as a filmmaker, and fortunately, I've got to live that dream many times over. But to have your film play in a theater, not listen, the TV's cool, and all that, but I grew up in a movie theater. My dad was a filmmaker. My dad was a film director. My uncle's was a filmmaker. My brother's I grew up in a filmmaking family. Going to the movies was a part of our culture, as a kid growing up. So there's something sacred to me about being in a movie theater with other people, and watching a movie, So
Absolutely.
yeah.
And so it just a little, touching thing, even sitting there watching a documentary of your career and a huge part of your life, and having your family in the room, and
Yeah.
watching your parents see this thing, and it so well put together and kind of defined, and then see the fans' reaction to it too. It was very special for us.
And
Absolutely.
here's the screening in New York. Paris
Yeah.
Mayhew from Agro's Chromags was at the screening in New York City.
Yeah, I mean, we're huge Chromags fans. I don't know Paris all that well personally, but we were going down to St. Vitus, Duncan and I, to do the premiere, and I reached out to him, and he was kind enough to come down and hang out with us. So it was really
awesome.
great.
And this premiere was at the St. Vitus?
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, they
Right
pulled
on.
down the screen and played it, and we had a crowd seated in that back room. It was great.
Right on. This, what did I see? Yeah, this is a Larry Kelly question. Let me rephrase it a little bit. What band from Boston from that early era, like any unsung heroes, anybody that you thought perhaps was going to be huge, but like maybe things didn't break right for them? Was there anybody that sort of through the shifting sands of time didn't get their just desserts?
The first band that comes to mind is absolutely Only Living Witness. Only Living Witness should have been fucking huge, man.
Right on.
They had a sound that was legit enough for the street cred of hardcore and metal fans, but they had a songwriting sensibility that could have definitely translated to the mainstream. And had they gotten a really good, legitimate shot with a major, I think Only Living Witness could have been one of the biggest heavy metal bands on the planet.
Wow, right on. Well said.
Besides
and everyone's chiming in. Definitely. Craig is a riff beast. Only Living Witness, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, Craig's a monster. I know he's with Agnostic Front,
of course,
now, and was I think American War Machine.
Yep.
And I know that he was in
Slapshot for years.
Yeah, it was in Slappy for a while, and
yep.
He's a great guy. We go way back with those guys to back when Kevin.
Is that right? He was in that band Seika?
No, he wasn't in Seika.
Oh, maybe Larry's saying that's a band that
should have been big. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a little bit of a difficulty. They did get signed. They were signed to Sire.
Yeah.
But then Seika, the porn star, sued them for their name, so they couldn't use the name Seika. So they changed their name to Strip Mind. And then they had Sully Erna, the singer of Godsmack, was the drummer on that Strip Mind album.
Huh.
And he was in the band for a little while. That's actually where I met Sully.
Interesting.
But yeah, that was Strip Mine. That was Seika, and that's
Well,
Tim
look-
Katz, who I mentioned earlier. He's an old buddy. He does we do a Lemmy Fest every few years here in Boston since he's passed, and he's in our pickup band with Daryl Shepard from Slapshot and Black Pyramid, and John Darga from Wrecking Crew, and Tim and me and Duncan Wilder Johnson, and then we usually get guests who Keith Bennett has done it. Jonah Jenkins from Only Living Witness has done it with us too.
Right on. Everybody's chiming in. This, that, the listen, the Outlets. I saw the Outlets back in the day in Boston, and out of all those sort of bands that were, I remember, they cut through, and I thought they were great. The Neighborhoods, Lou Miami and the Cosmetics, the Dangerous Bart, whatever, all this shit. November Group, whatever. I thought the Outlets were fucking great. Dogmatics,
the
whatever.
Outlets.
Yeah, I the Outlets. I remember seeing them and going, "These fucking guys are a great fucking rock and roll band, man." I really like them. This is a question for me. Let me show these three.
But here's a good Francis Larry Kelly, La Peste. La Peste. What an incredible band. What a great band.
Well, there's a La Peste, Sugar Bitch, Wrecking Crew, Overcast, Formicide, Honky Ball, 616, Kingpin in the Rise, Toe Tag, Eye for an Eye, so everybody's chiming in, and Volcano Sons, so much great music out of Massachusetts. Absolutely. And that's what we talked about earlier, is just the vibrant culture of live music in Massachusetts in that era. I think it's pretty much unparalleled,
I agree. It shocks me, this list here in the comments is a testimonial to how did the industry miss the boat? It's like you look at all these incredible bands, and sure, there were the Aerosmiths and the
Cars,
Atlantics and the Cars and those bands, but when you look at it, it's like, wow, man, they really missed out on a lot of really killer stuff, man, and not just metal or hardcore or anything, just across the board. There were so many great bands.
Sure. Let me show you these three pictures and then ask you a question, right? There's this one, right? There's this one, right? That's picture number 1. And then there's this one. Right?
Yeah.
And my question will be asked, to accompany this one. And the question is, did Sam Black Church ever play Sam Black Church?
We did not ever play in Sam Black Church proper. I did live in Sam Black Church. And my parents from about the age of 10 to 18 or so, my parents owned a home at a farm in Sam Black Church. And that's, growing up with the Crandle brothers, their parents lived about 10 miles down, not even 10 miles down the road, on a back highway in a place called Cornstalk, a decidedly less heavy metal sounding place to live. But they, we did play once in Lewisburg. We played there was a roadhouse there that was called Roscoe's Cafe years ago.
Right.
And we did play there, but it was, this was over 20 years ago. This was probably late 90s, but the citizens and parishioners of the actual church sought an injunction to make Sam Black Church stop using the name. And the district attorney for Greenbrier County informed them that it was public property, like naming your band Chicago or Alabama.
Or Boston or Alabama.
Yeah. and that they couldn't do anything about it. But we wrote, we didn't want them to be upset. We're from there. So we wrote them a very nice letter saying, like, we're not doing this in any way to disrespect you or anything. That if anything, how the name came about, honestly, was we were in Boston. We had been rehearsing for about a year before we ever played out. And we could not think of a name. And I was talking with my sister, who was at the time a Madison Avenue advertising creative director. Mm-hmm. And I said, we need a band name and we don't want to be pigeonholed and, but it's got to be cool and heavy and, all the shit that people say when they're trying to come up with a name. And I was at the farm in Sam Black and I was talking to her on the phone and she said, why don't you just name it after something you see every day, like Sam Black Church? And I went, oh shit. And
fucking sisters, man.
And I called Ben up in Boston. I was like, I got the name. And I said, Sam Black Church. And he was like, holy shit. It's like Iron Maiden or Judas Priest or something,
That's awesome.
And that was it. That was it. That was the name.
Yeah, I like this. We are cornstalk. That's like, I think that, what's up? We are cornstalk. Good.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Cornstalk.
There you go. Let's see. What is this? And we're just kind of doing show and tell with some of these great pictures that Sean McNally sent. But is this you guys in Stuck Mojo here?
That is at Alrosa Villa in Columbus, Ohio. The place.
Oh, that's the infamous venue that sadly Dimebag Darrell's life was taken.
Right. This was at the end of a tour. We did a couple of tours with Stuck Mojo. The great guys. In fact, just an very odd coincidence. One day my mother called me and said, oh, hey, we've hired a young lady who says her brother plays in a band that you guys have toured with. And I was like, oh, who could that be? And it was Rich Ward's sister.
Oh, wow.
Arbitrarily worked for my parents in Lewisburg, West Virginia. But this is there's Rich, there's Bones, and Bud.
Yep.
We had two great tours with those guys. They're great, and they're such good players, man. I'm telling you, just monster band.
I directed their first music video. I directed the Stuck Mojo video, Not Promised Tomorrow, and we went down to Atlanta, me and my brother. And we shot it. Some of it was shot in that club, the Masquerade.
Love that place.
And I got up on this whole thing because it was the first time I was down there. We got to go to Macon, Georgia, and we got to go to the Dwayne Allman's grave. So there's footage of Stuck Mojo in this graveyard, and there's a shot of Rich Ward looking at Dwayne Allman's grave, Dwayne Allman and Barry Oakley's grave. We went to Macon, Georgia, and it's Rose Hill Cemetery. And also in that cemetery, if you know the Allman Brothers Band music, there's the Dickie Betts penned instrumental in memory of Elizabeth Reed, which is a tombstone in memory of Elizabeth Reed in the Rose Hill Cemetery. And it's also where Greg Allman's buried there now as well, So
wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. And now I'm going to have to go back and I know the song well from it was always in their set.
Yes, of course. And it's this beautiful like cemetery by the river and these weeping willows. It's like a dream, this fucking cemetery. And it's pretty incredible. Macon, Georgia. Alan Robert from Life of Agony says, back in the day before Roadrunner signed us, Life of Agony had a song on the East Coast Assault compilation with Sam Black Church. They had a song called Dance, I think.
That's right. East Coast Assault. I remember that disc well. It has like a black and white cover with like green letters on the front of it. I think I have it somewhere, but yeah, we only got to play with Life of Agony a couple of times way back when. But I mean, what a great band. I mean, and what a killer history. And I mean, River Runs Red is an absolute monster classic.
Well, this show here that we showed, the Babyhead show is Life of Agony, Sam Black Church Life of Agony, and Madball. So yeah, play with them sort of in your backyard, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember that show well. And they're always, they're one of those bands that when you're coming up and I know I've said it a few times, we were learning as we went along. We just like everybody, but you learn along the way, seeing really great bands. I mentioned all those shows that we played at the channel with those really, really killer bands, and then you're on the road, you're playing one-offs wherever you see really great bands and you learn from them. You learn things that help you become more professional and better at your craft. And they were definitely that.
Yeah, I mean, Life of Agony right now is one of the very few bands that I could watch for longer than 15 minutes.
Right on.
Yeah,
I get it, man. Yeah,
I don't pull my punches, man. And I don't mean that. I don't mean that bands are bad. It's just I just at this stage of the game, I don't have that much of an attention span, after a while. But there are some bands that keep me engaged, and they are one of them.
Alan's getting a chuckle out of that.
Yeah, so I don't know how much longer that's going to last, Alan, but for now you're good. You guys, Biohazard. There's a couple that now there's a bunch of bands. There's a bunch of bands. As we head down the home stretch, here, is this a current photo? Is this getting ready for Saturday?
No, that was a show from 2016. We did I can tell because we did the partnership with Cigar City Brewing and Wormtown Brewery. We put out 2 beers, and so that was the Captain of the World IPA, and then there was a Iron O'Rourke stout that was like some seriously heavy duty stuff. But yeah, I do have a current band, Blood Lightning, but when Sam Black gets in town and we start rehearsing, gloves or not, the hands start falling apart a little bit, and we'll just say that some reunions can be more painful than others.
There you go. And as we head down the home stretch here, of course, this Saturday in the lovely Worcester, Massachusetts, Sam Black Church is doing the Real Live 35th anniversary show with Killing Time, Leeway, and Scissor Fight. Tickets are still on sale, apparently, according to Sean McNally. I know many people are excited about this. They're so thrilled that you guys have pulled it back together and you're doing this. Any final word on this as we sort of wrap it up?
We're gonna fucking bring it. Every time we do one of these things, we want to make something special about it. So that was one of the reasons we wanted to go big on on the venue was more production value, more fun merch, more VIP packages, cool bands, You know, we're working with our buddy Corey Smith, who's the lighting and production manager for Kill Switch Engage, to dial this up and make this extra fun and entertaining, so that you know, maybe Drew Stone could watch us for more than 15 minutes. But no, we're just excited, man. You know that, you know, we love this stuff. We love the band. We love the, you know, we have, you know, I know all these bands say like, oh, we have the best fans in the world, but you know, when we're able to go away for, you know, 3-5 years at a time and then come out and play these big shows, you know, it's really something special for us. And especially after 35 years is crazy. It's crazy to even say that for us. And it's just something we're super psyched to do. Can't wait. You know, I don't get stage fright. I get you know, ready to crush you itis. Like for the next week, I'm going to be chomping at the bit to get out there and hit them hard. So I can't wait.
Absolutely. Want to thank you for coming on. We had a great time. I knew we were gonna. I had a great feeling about it. I want to thank Sean McNally, you know, for sending me all the great stuff. You know, Duncan's film was very helpful as well, as I did my homework. Anybody you want to thank? Anybody you want to shout out on the way out?
Oh man, well, you know, first and foremost, I have to thank Sean McNally, because he's been, you know, a member of the band, you know, for all this time. He's our brother. I mean, he was my roommate for many years. Sean and I lived together. I got to give a shout out to the other dudes in Sam Black. You know, they're my brothers. I love them. Duncan Wilder Johnson. I got to give a big shout out to, you know, like I said before, we would have never really gotten that jump start we did without the help of Mark McKay from Slapshot. I mean, he's another one. And I later worked with him at Newbury Comics, and he's a brother. And people like Reverend Hank Purse and Keith Bennett from Wrecking Crew, and just the list could go on and on. But yeah, we're hoping we'll be able to make some of these thank yous at the show. So we'll be shouting some people out. And thank you, Drew. I mean, you're a legend, bro. And I really, you know, I've watched the podcast, and really it was seeing that show with Dave Tree that inspired me to reach out to you. And I thank you so much for having me, man. This has been really fun.
Don't embarrass me on my own show, bro. I appreciate it. I do it because I love it. It brings me joy. It brings other people joy, and I'm very fortunate. So let's keep in touch, man, and all the best on Saturday. I know you're going to be great.
Hey, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it. We can't wait.
Okay, I'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it.
There you go. Another one in the bag. Our guest today was J.R. Roach from Sam Black Church. Thank you, John. Thank you, everybody. Is that right? Duncan, it's your birthday next week. I wish I could come. I have the show. I have this show on Sunday, and I just can't. I learned the hard way. I can't go to a show like that and then get in the car at 11 o'clock and drive until 2 a.m. to get home, you know, to try to do a show the next day. I can't do it. It's dangerous to be driving on the Merritt Parkway at 1 a.m. So, you know, a week from today, my brother will be on. We'll be doing a Halloween show with Craig Satari. After that show, I'm scooting down to Organic Grill because the Drew Stone Hit Squad is playing. I want to shout out my latest patron, Michael Simeone. Simeone? Is it Simone or Simeone? Welcome and thank you. Thank you for supporting the show. Thank you for supporting me and what I do. If anybody else wants to jump on board, please do. It's what makes this thing happen. You know, that said, you know, thank you, Darren. Yeah, it's too difficult to get in the car at 11 o'clock and drive 4 hours back to New York to get home at 2 in the morning, 2:30 in the morning, and then I get up at I'm up no later than 6 a.m. to do this show. I do social media until 7:30, so I'm up at 6 a.m. and I've done so many of them. As soon as there's any variation in the procedure, I start to freak out. So things have to run very, regimented in order for the show to be as great as it was today. So, you can we please get a preview of the Drew Stone Hit Squad set list? You know what? I think you can. Hold on. Let me find the set list. I have no problem with that. Let me find that set list. Do that. Let me see. Drew Stone Hit Squad set list. Where the fuck is that? Okay. Hit Squad Organic Grill set list. Okay. Here we go. The songs that we will be playing this Sunday at the Organic Grill are, here you go. I Love Living in the City, Boom Boom Mancini by Warren Zevon. I Want to Be Your Dog, of course, the Stooges. Traditional Americana, Long Black Veil, sort of the Johnny Cash version. The Past Comes Back to Haunt Me, which is a High and the Mighty song, one of my originals. Attitude by the Misfits. Tristan sings that. Sonic Reducer by the Dead Boys, followed by the Grateful Dead's Mr. Charlie. People Who Died, Jim Carroll. And then If the Kids Are United, Sham 69. This is what we will be playing this Sunday at Organic Grill. So come on down to that. Drew, have you spoke to Rich Ward? Were you able? I don't know. I haven't spoken to Rich Ward in many years. I was a little disappointed with Stuck Mojo. A little angry at the time. I did their first video, and then after that they went on the next time to do the video with somebody else, and I was a little peeved at the time. In hindsight, things you do when you're young, So I had a couple words with him back then. I have no problem with Rich Ward. It was a long time ago. I wish him all the well. He plays in Fozzy. We had Fozzy, why am I drawing a blank? The wrestler on the show. But yeah, I'll reach out to Rich Ward, why am I drawing a blank on who sings for Fozzy? Why am I drawing a blank? He was just on the show. Judah, Johan, what the all right, somebody help me. Yeah. So Jericho, thank you. Chris Jericho. Who's the biggest, one of the biggest wrestlers in the world? Yeah, come on, George the Animal Steel. Is George the Animal Steel still alive? I'd fucking love to get George the Animal Steel on the show. That guy, that would be incredible. George the Animal Steel. Absolutely. Yeah, order the New York Hardcore Chronicles book. There's only 30 of these left. There's a bunch of these. Next day shipping. It's another nice way of supporting the show that supports you. It's available at www.stonefilmsnyc.com. Don't be shy. Let it fly. Is that right? George the Animal Steel is not. Oh, he's gone. Bruno Sammartino's gone too. But George the Animal Steel. That was George the Animal Steel in in the movie Ed Wood, right? He played that actor, Tor Johnson, is it? Am I remembering that correctly? George the Animal Steel played the actor Tor Johnson in Ed Wood. They were portraying the actors in Plan 9 from Outer Space. How's that? Right? I got it? There you go. Okay, good. There you go. So great. Hey, thank you all so much. Today was a great show. I knew it was going to be a great show. Thanks for being a part of it. We'll see you in a couple days, everybody. Do good things and good things will come to you. I'm sure of that.